is 3 o'clock, and I'll call the meeting to order. This is the March 16th, 2021 regular board meeting of the Rockingham County Board of Elections. And I'd like to welcome everybody here. I'll remind you, if you have a cell phone, please turn it off or down so it won't interrupt the meeting. And at this time, I'm going to ask everybody to stand to have the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I'm going to ask Leanna if she'll introduce our speaker to give invocation.
Our person to give the invocation today is Mr. Ernest Lawson, retired veteran from the United States Army, and he is chairperson of the Mount Hermon Baptist Church Deacon Board. Ernest.
Welcome.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
It gives me a privilege and a pleasure to give the invocation. Most dear and Heavenly Father, first we want to thank you. Thank you for what all you have done for our county, Heavenly Father. Having this board to meet together in harmony to iron out some of the necessary stuff that need to be done. We thank you for that, Heavenly Father. And Heavenly Father, keep your loving arms around them and let them continue doing what needs to be done for our county. In your name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir. All right. The next item is the approval, item number 4, the approval of the agenda. And I will ask for a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
I second.
There's a motion and a second to approve our agenda. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. But the agenda is approved. And the next item is approval of the minutes of our last board meeting, the February 16th, 2001 board meeting. And I'll ask for a motion to approve the minutes of February 16th.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the minutes of the February 16th, 2021 board meeting.
Is there a second? Is there a second? We need a second to approve. Mr. County Attorney, what do we do without a second?
There's really no rule of procedure for a second. It can be called for a vote. There's a motion that's been made. It can be voted on.
Okay, there's a motion then. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to share some of the observations of the minutes that I would like to put forth relative to voting on the motion.
Okay. Member Cole?
Yes. There's some serious lack of information in that motion relative to what the money was. The money actually came from the state, they said. It did not. It came from a foundation. And in view of time element involved, I want to share with the members here of the county and all others that this money was not state money, but yet the motion and what you see wanting to be approved infers that the money came from the state. The money came from a foundation which the director of our state board of elections secured, and this money was distributed to all 100 counties to one-stop voters. There was no tax dollars involved in North Carolina, no tax dollars involved in Rockingham County. The one thing it did, it injected over $8,000 into our economy. And for that, I think that needs to be included in the minutes before I can vote for it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right. Is there any other discussion? Then I'll call a question. The motion was made to approve the minutes of the February 16th meeting. All in favor say aye.
Are you saying with the correction that Mr. Cole has addressed?
Well,
No, that was not in the motion.
we could
That was my discussion.
we could approve them as they are or not approve them.
Okay.
So again, I'll ask for a vote on all that approve the minutes of the last meeting as they're printed. Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Aye. How did you vote?
I'm voting for us to get the correction of what Mr. Cole stated, and put that in the minutes for they to be approved.
Voting against the motion.
So why didn't we just amend the minutes to start with, instead of not voting at all on it?
So just to make clear, Ms. Lawson, that your vote is nay, or is to not approve the minutes as they stand.
As they stand, but add the recommendation that Member Cole.
I would suggest to the board that a new motion be made to pass the existing minutes with the proposed amendment. And that could have been modified with the original motion. But that initial motion was voted on, failed.
Okay, that motion failed, 3-2. Then I'll ask for another motion to approve the minutes of the February 16th meeting with the amendments as so noted by Member Cole. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
As a motion, is there a second to approve the minutes as amended? All in favor say aye.
Wait a minute, I'd like to have some discussion about that, please, sir.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yep. So before we have a vote, is there any discussion?
It is. I think the reference in those minutes states, when it says state, the money was sent down from the state. We all knew it was a private grant when we discussed and voted on this. But the money came to us actually from the State Board of Elections.
That is true. But I'm not sure that anybody that picking up the minutes, everybody that picks up the minutes and looks at it would understand that.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to be recognized.
Okay.
I will share with you the fact that 10 years from now, nobody will know that reads these minutes. The one advantage we do have is right now, those that are viewing this meeting understand what the problem is and that it should be spelled out specifically. It infers that the money came from the state, which inferred it was state funds. It had no section in there. Yes, we had conversation about it, but it wasn't included in the minutes.
And I'm all for including that clarification in the minutes, but I do know that when we discussed it, we did discuss that this was grant funds. It was not state tax dollars.
That is true, but it's not in the minutes.
Okay.
We have a motion lacking a second to approve the February 16th meeting minutes with the amendment as offered by Member Cole. Is there any other discussion?
Well, can this amendment be put in the minutes so that it can be read correctly, that it came from private donation? Is that what you were trying to say?
Well, it is. We can approve or disapprove of that motion And if that motion is approved, we can go back and amend the minutes of February 16th meeting and include that. Okay, all in favor of the second motion to approve the agenda, of the minutes with the amendments, say aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Okay, we will amend the minutes of the February 16th meeting. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, further on this question,
Yes.
I would move that the previous secretary who composed the minutes do the rewrite.
Yes, she was the secretary at that time.
Yes.
Yes.
I'll be happy to do that.
Okay. Thank you. For all of you out there, appreciate you wearing your mask. We up here are.
You.
I'm the one not wearing a mask. I'll put it on. I thought we were socially distanced enough that. Okay. All right. Thank you. At this time, we'll go to item number 6, public comment, and we have a couple of people that have signed up for public comment. And I'm going to ask the county attorney if he will read the rules that we have and the county board of commissioners have regarding public comment.
Yes, the public comment period shall be for the purpose of allowing members of the public to present any matter pertaining to election business or items on the Board of Elections agenda. Remarks shall be addressed directly to the Board of Elections and not to staff, the audience, or media. The chairperson shall open the public comment period. Any speaker who wishes to speak shall approach the podium and not speak from his or her seat. Each speaker shall clearly state his or her name and physical address when he or she approaches the podium. Each speaker shall be allotted 3 minutes. They may be allowed to yield their time on a specific topic by utilizing one more attendee's time. This will allow no more than 6 minutes. Speakers appearing before the Board of Elections will not be allowed to campaign for public office, promote private business ventures, or use language of a personal nature which insults or demeans any person, or which, when directed at a public official, is not related to his or her official duties. The Board of Elections it will accept written comments in lieu of oral statements. Written statements can be delivered to the Board of Elections office.
Thank you, sir. All right, the first person to sign up to speak is Rochelle Tucker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, Rochelle Tucker, 643 Grooms Road. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. After listening to the audio of the February 16th meeting that you all were just talking about the minutes, know that I was really surprised and disappointed to hear the outcome of the discussion regarding the receipt of this $8,000 private money that you all were just talking about that was sent to this board to be dispersed to folks who work during the early voting period. These employees wanted to serve this county, as evidenced by their spending 18 days to execute our early voting sites during the fall election. They worked long hours, risking not only their health, but that of their families as well. Several of them became infected with the virus, and ultimately one site had to be closed and others were quarantined. And knowing the challenges that arose out of this election, the funds came to give the guys a small bonus for working under the adverse conditions. And I believe your math said that it was maybe $13 a day. Yet this board voted not to bless those people with that money. And I believe your vote to deny those people is certainly a slap in the face to them after all the risks they took to serve this county. And I believe your vote also does not warrant what Mr. Price prayed in his prayer about the justice and equality, justice and truth. And based on what I heard, your main reason was because the other employees in this county didn't get a bonus or didn't get extra money. Now, unless I'm missing something, only you all are responsible for that you're under the jurisdiction, that's under your jurisdiction. And you guys could not do that for some reason. And so I'm wondering why other people in the future would want to work here, knowing that we had an opportunity to bless them with a little extra, knowing the pandemic in which we've been for the last year. And that just did not seem to be justice to me. And then while I'm mentioning justice and truth, I appeal to you guys to reconsider your decision to fire the previous deputy director, Amy Simpson, of this board. I believe she would drop the lawsuit. And I believe, despite what was done to her, she still wants to come and work for this board. And I would just implore you to maybe consider that. And you know, the thing that gets me, guys, is that the boards in this county don't seem to want to compromise and get on one accord with one another when we have agreements. So if you all are sincere about justice and truth, I would see if you could find a way to get this money back, give it to those workers who work. And also, I believe that this county would be better served if we would have Amy Simpson at the head, and we'd be able to not overwork the folk you got in there right now. And the website could be updated so that when we look at it in 21, we can see stuff that's going on in 21. So I just implore you to put away all of this pettiness and let's do the best job that we can do for the citizens of this county. My daddy worked at this county for 30 years in an office. The main thing, it didn't matter whether you were Republicans or Democrats. The main thing was that you were serving the people.
Thank you, ma'am. John, could you start the clock? We didn't, but I timed Ms. Tucker on my watch, and she went just a little over 3 minutes.
Let's power this thing. I've tried it before. Is it on, Andrew?
No.
There you go.
Well, that would help. Give me that. Lance is so much better.
Okay, all right. The next person to offer public comment is Ann Brady. Ms. Brady.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Ann Brady. I live at 3190 NC 65 Reidsville. Thank you for listening.
Let's start.
Okay. I'm not going to use 3 minutes anyway. First of all, I really want to thank Mr. Richardson and Mr. Cole for your votes to try to pay our workers that work the polls a little bit of extra money. I'm particularly appreciate what you said today to try and enlighten everybody on what actually happened. We didn't turn down state money, we turned down private money. And I was at the polls a whole lot during this last election. I was particularly upset when Reidsville closed, and I heard from everybody that they couldn't reopen it because there weren't people willing to come and work. And it took a judge to open that back up. Had we had that money to spend, I think we could have found people without having to go a legal recourse. So I want to echo what Ms. Tucker said. I also, again, echo what she says. Amy Simpson did a fabulous job. You need to reconsider bringing her back. I've had trouble. I can't get data from the Board of Elections. I've tried to get some data. I don't even get responses. I am used to asking for data, asking for information, and having it come right to me. You don't have enough staff there. I'm not blaming anybody that's there now. We need somebody that knows what they're doing to take over. We have elections coming up. COVID hasn't gone away, and I would highly recommend that you consider bringing Amy back. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you. That is all the people that signed up for public comment, and thank you. At this time, we'll move to item number 7, unfinished business. And the first item I want to discuss on having to do with unfinished business is Derek Sullivan. If you would come and give us an update on, we are in the process of putting in a badge system for entry into the Board of Elections building. It's a freestanding building, as you know, and we've had keys. We need a badge system for security. We're in the process of doing that. And also, we're looking at installing cameras around the building. So Derek, if you would come give us an update on that, please, sir.
Good afternoon. Our first update I'll give you is where we are with the current badge system. The vendor has been there. This will be their second week. Last week they pulled the wires, reworked the doors, changed the locking mechanisms on the doors so they can be automatic with the new badge reader. They've completed most of the hardware work, and now they're in the process of configuring the controllers to be on our network and allow them to connect into our current system. We have the access control groups set up, so once we confirm the list of employees that need to be given the access for part-time workers and full-time workers and maintenance and IT, we can add those names in, and then we'll do a test of the badge system. The expectation from the vendor is we should be ready to test by the end of this week.
May I interrupt you just a second? The badge system, is it operational now?
No, sir.
But you mentioned the changing over the locking. I mean, we're not where we can't lock the doors.
No, sir. No, the door locks are still key locks today. The locking plates inside the doors that were there before were basically open holes, and they had to put in electronic mechanisms in those doors. So it does not affect the operations of the doors at this time. But once we go live, those will be controlled by the badge readers.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions on where we are on that project?
Is the screen panel in that somebody can sit at a desk and see who's at the front door?
The hardware is in. It's not sitting on someone's desk for them to use at this time. No.
Okay.
Yeah, all the wires are pulled, and they're configuring it to get it on the network at this time. They're working on that actually today.
Thank you. All right.
And I think
anybody else having questions so far?
We ended up pulling 2 separate wires for that, one to the director's office and one to the assistant director's office, so it can be moved if necessary. Because it's not a mounted device, it's a portable device.
Okay. All right, do you want to continue with the camera system?
So I met with the vendor and we looked at several proposals. The proposal that he currently has on me, in front of me right now, I'm not ready to present to you guys. I'm not comfortable with the pricing and some of the hardware that's in the proposal. So I did not bring it to you today, but I wanted to give you an update. It does appear that we will be adding a total of 6 physical cameras that are physical in nature. Some of those cameras will have multiple cameras inside of the portal, like the ones that go in the corner building. There will be multiple cameras inside of the mounting unit. We should be somewhere between 9 and 10. There's a question on one of if it would be able to get the bay door on the maintenance building. So I've got a question out to them, and then also the question of how strong the camera is to make sure that it would be able to see across the parking lot. So unfortunately, the vendor is not able to respond to me yesterday or today due to him not being in the office, so I don't have an update on those at this time.
Do we have any preliminary figures?
We do, but I don't feel comfortable giving that.
Okay.
Because one of the questions is where's the data going to be stored? We have a central repository here, and the quote includes having a repository for the data to be stored in that building, which I don't think is necessary and a wise use of money. So I would like for that to be removed before I give you any pricing, because I just don't know how accurate it is with that in it.
Okay, other questions by the board members?
No, but I have a statement I would like to make.
Okay.
I believe there was a discussion at our last meeting about the cost of the cameras and some discussion about would we be able to come up with the money and that sort of thing. And I think I made reference to a memorandum that the chairman had gotten from Lardell, who is a state employee, and I happen to have a copy of that, and I'd be happy to share with the rest of the board members. But the suggestion is to use some of this additional $159,000 for the purchase of cameras and motion sensors. Were you able to locate that email?
I don't remember seeing that.
I have
but
one for each of you.
I remember getting word, it may have been from her, it may have been from the state board, that we could use HAVA funds where that's the money that the security system's coming out of now. And we have some more. We have some more HAVA funds, and we could use that, I think, for the camera system. We'll have to find out. I think we can get the money. The problem is the HAVA money runs out at the end of June of this year. So we need to make a decision to commit to do that or not do it very quickly by, certainly by next meeting.
Okay. The price that we have today is I'm comfortable with that price. My concern is I'm not worried about right now. I'm worried about 3 years from now. So for me to buy that storage device, even though we may have HAVA money to pay for it, it's just not a wise choice because we're going to be left paying the maintenance on that. And the maintenance on something like that could be a couple $1,000s. So that's an ongoing cost that I'm trying to avoid where I don't think it's necessary.
I'm not sure what you're referring to, Derek.
So the reason I didn't give you the price today, I know we have HAVA money to pay for this system, and we have plenty of money to pay for it. But my concern is presenting you a proposal when I'm worried about year 2, 3, 4, and 5, where I may not have HAVA money to pay for that maintenance, where that maintenance may be included in what we already spend as a county. Or if I went with a system that was stored the data at your Board of Elections, it could add $2,000 to $3,000 in maintenance. And I'm just not comfortable adding that when it's not necessary.
That was just for the cameras, right?
That's just for the cameras.
To bring everybody up to date, the badge system we will pay, the Board of Elections will pay for that for the first year out of HAVA funds. And then after that, it will come from either the maintenance or your department to do the maintenance on the badge system. Is that right?
That is correct.
But you're talking about the camera system.
Would also have a maintenance and license contract with it. And currently today, I have a surplus of license on our storage system here for our cameras. So if I can use our storage system here and still have excess capacity, I don't see the need to spend the money for maintenance and license on something that's just going to cost us ongoing in the future.
There's a way to avoid that.
If I can use the data and store it here in this building, we would avoid those maintenance and license costs.
Tell us again. I know we talked about it when we were down there going through the office with you. I can't remember if we talked about it. It wasn't in the minutes of the last meeting. Just to bring everybody up to date, the cameras are they're on a rotating 24-hour basis, or how do all the cameras work? It's not an alarm. The camera's not an alarm.
No, and it is not tied to the alarm system at all. The cameras only record on motion activity, and it is stored in the database, and then we keep that data for a minimum of 30 days. Unless legal tells us to pull the data out for some reason. It's a rotating, and it wipes clean after a period of time.
Okay, so if we had an incident in the office or the storage building, we could go back and look at the cameras.
Yes, a request is made to the IT department, and then we recover that, pull that data off, and give it to the party that needs to review it. Whether it be legal, sheriff's department, HR, whoever is needing that data.
Okay, other board members have any questions or comments?
No, but I'd like to thank Derek for always being so diligent and trying to get the best deal.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Derek, and thanks for being with us and bringing us up to date on that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. The next item I have, and we'll get to everybody else's in a minute, but The next item I have on the unfinished business is, it came up last month. A question to me was, have I gotten anything from the county regarding our upcoming budget? And at that time, I had not. As you know, and was sent to you last week, we now have a request from the budget folks, the county manager, assistant county manager, to get our budget together. Now, we need to have as a board, we need to have a board budget work session sometime to sit down and go over all the requirements and look at past budgets and get together at least a preliminary budget to send to the assistant county manager, Paul. And so I'm asking the board when we can do that. I'll tell you, my preference is, rather than having it in here, is to do it at the board office in the big room where we can sit down and spread out a little bit and look at all the past budgets, talk about things, and it can be recorded. I talked to Derek, and he can send Andrew down there with a camera, and they can Zoom or stream that meeting, which needs to be done. So I'm asking the board, we have to give 48 hours notice of the meeting. I'm asking the board when we could get together as soon as possible to do that.
I believe we were sent that information in advance. I'm prepared to move forward with that today.
With
Talking about the budget.
I thought we were going to talk about the budget today. That's the reason I've been working on it.
But maybe the others have not.
I don't have mine with me. I didn't know we was going to talk about it. I mean, I can see it being a 2 or 3 hour meeting. I told Paul what I know about budgets is, and in the past, folks, in the past we had a director, and the director always did the budget and gave it to us, and we reviewed, as a board, we reviewed the budget. We made recommendations to either increase it or decrease it, and we would send it to the county, and they would give us a final answer on our budget. Well, of course, we don't have a director there to do that. So we're going to have to come up with it. And what I know about budgets is to look at the last one, like budget, and say this is what we had last time and what do we need to increase or decrease. I'm not prepared to do this today. I'm sorry I didn't have it on my mind, I guess, to do it today. So is there another day that we can get together and spend some time to do this? I think it's going to take some time.
Did he not say you wanted it by the end of the month? Is that what he said?
Yeah. I think it was next Friday. I don't know what that date is. So is it possible for us to get together either this Friday afternoon or Monday afternoon or Tuesday afternoon next week?
I cannot this Friday afternoon.
This Friday afternoon's out?
Mm-hmm.
Monday afternoon?
Can we do it morning
Okay.
rather than afternoon?
I don't care.
We can. We can do it Monday morning. I know Leanna works on Thursday and Friday mornings, but we could do it Monday morning if that's agreeable to everybody.
What time?
10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, whatever.
I'm good with Monday at 10.
Monday at 10, is that agreeable with everybody?
I agree.
Leanna, okay.
Do you want that in a vote?
Yeah.
I move that we set a meeting for Monday, March the, what's the date?
22nd.
22nd at 10 a.m. at the Board of Elections office to do a work session for the budget.
There's a motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a motion second to meet Monday, March 22nd at 10 a.m. to have a budget work session. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
could I get a copy of the most recent
Did
budget?
you not get one in email?
Nope.
It was sent to us. I got it.
I think Kathy sent it out to all of us.
When was it sent?
Hold on, I'll tell you, Nelson.
I don't have my phone with me.
Nelson, if I could add, you're going to need more than the most recent because
I would like
we
that.
have a municipal election.
She sent it on March the 9th. She's got she's got several there for you to look at.
I think she sent it the same day Paul sent her the information. Yeah, that's the strange thing about this board. Of course, we had a big budget last year because we had a big election. We had a primary the year before that and a municipal election, which we'll have this year. Quite frankly, we don't know whether we're going to have a municipal election this fall yet. The state board is working to try to figure out if we're going to have a municipal election this fall because of the census. And we expect to have that word before long. But if our 21-22 budget will need to reflect the municipal election in the fall, whether we have it or not. It needs to be there, and primary next year for the 2022 election. That is
21.
from last year. Yes,
Sorry.
go ahead.
I was just going to say the budget year would be the 21-22.
21-22, that's right. And we'd have to go back to the 1920 year. Is that right?
I think we go back to the 18-19 year.
Yeah, because 1920 would have had a presidential primary.
1920.
Remember, it's January through June. I mean, July through June.
Yeah, okay. All right. So we'll meet on Monday morning. Remember, Cole, if you don't have that for some reason, if you'll let me or Kathy know, we can send it to you again.
I'll touch base with Kathy.
Okay.
I got 3 boards I'm trying to keep up with.
Some of you may notice that we are, this is not really, this is kind of an announcement, but we don't have anybody here today recording the meeting as we most always do with the director. But the meeting is being recorded, and we will have someone to go back and look at the recording and do our minutes for this meeting. The next item of unfinished business, I'd like to ask Member Ferguson and Member Lawson to bring us up to date on deep cleaning or cleaning the office.
We're on hold right now because of Leanna's schedule with giving COVID shots, and we are looking at different companies to contact, and as soon as she gets freed up, we'll be giving you a report on that.
Okay, all right. I think that money is available until the end of the year, but of course we want to get it done as soon as possible. Okay, I'll ask the board members if they have any other unfinished business.
Yes, sir. I asked last meeting how much we had left in COVID funds and HAVA funds, and you didn't have it. You said you'd get it for us. Do you have that?
No, I don't. I will have it. I'll have it before the next meeting and probably before Monday and send it out to everybody. I'd have to check with the finance office. Is there any other unfinished business?
I just have one question.
Yeah.
Just to touch base, because I've had some questions about this. Campaign finance is or is not up to date?
It is.
It is current.
It is current. Well, there was, let me take it back. There was a letter that was either the second or third letter sent out to one campaign last week wanting information on the campaign, either to file his last 2 quarter reports or to close out his campaign, and I'm not sure if that's been done yet, but I think the third letter has been sent out. And in fact, he's talked to, and he said he would get everything in.
Thanks.
Any other unfinished business? We'll move to item number 8, new business. Is there any new business come before the board?
I have one thing. This came in at the office some time ago, and I left a note that the board needs to address it, and you brought it today. The deputy director working there had told me she is not getting the Rockingham Now papers on a regular basis. So my question is, do we need to address terminating this supposed delivery, or do we need to continue? She seemed to think we hardly ever got the papers.
Okay.
Had she discussed that with you?
She did. She did, and I think her indication was that sometimes she got it, sometimes she didn't. And I don't even know what benefit it is to us. It's the Rockingham Now, and we need to, it's a little over $100 a year, and we need to decide if we want to continue that or not.
It was my understanding we received the paper, we took the paper because we would have to check for campaign ads and campaign notices, and to make sure that they had all the legends on them and all that, because I know I went through a stack of papers looking for that back some time ago to just help out to get them caught up. Is that something we are mandated to do?
I do not know that answer to that question. So, does anybody want to make a motion to either continue this or to discontinue this?
I think we need to find an answer for that, Mr. Chair, whether we need that information for the office or not, if there's a mandate that we have to have that before we make a decision on keeping it or letting it go.
Okay. I'll make a note of that and try to get that answer to us. Is there any other new business? If not, then I will entertain a motion to go into executive session subject to the general statutes noted. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move to go into executive session subject to GS 143-318-11A6 to discuss personnel, and pursuant to GS 143-318-11A3 to consult with the attorney.
Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second to go into executive session for the 2 general statutes mentioned. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Okay, let the record show that we're going into executive session.
Yes, sir.
All right, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
I second.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. We adjourned at 6:01.